Good afternoon. My name is Ruben Serene, and I'll be exploring the government and NGO interventions in food waste utilities importance on the carbon footprint and environmental impact in the UK. So the purpose of this presentation is to evaluate the necessity of using food waste to lessen environmental impact and carbon footprint. So between 25 and 30% of the food produced in the UK is lost, whether that is from consumer side or producer side. And this kind of leaves me with the question and leaves us all with the question of who is to blame? Like, is this something down to the producers, the supply chain process, or is this something down to the consumers? So is it down to us purchasing products we don't need and essentially wasting them? According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, 8 to 10% of human-caused greenhouse gas emission is caused by the food loss, again, by producers or consumers. By putting into place stricter rules and creating groups that concentrate on making greater use of food waste, UK households will recycle more and minimize waste. There are numerous options for homes in the UK to reduce their carbon footprint and including programs aimed at reducing food waste and more effective waste management. The UK government have partnered with private NGOs, which the main one I will be speaking about today is the WRAP, who have been adapting a more analytical approach and they are like trying their best to tackle this through government funding. These different approaches have helped make it possible to implement the right campaigns and tactics that are being utilized to persuade and increase numbers of people to consider food waste utility. So one of the main things the WRAP and the government have come up with is the court hold commitment. So by the end of 2030, the court hold commitment kind of hopes to cut waste by 50%. Within this court hold commitment, there are a lot of programs, and the main ones that stood out for me were the Love Food Hate Waste, Recycle Now, and Clear on Plastic. Retail producers, consumers, they're all kind of benefiting from these programs. So, for example, in 60% in the UK, sorry, 60% of the food that is purchased for consumption was before getting essentially wasted by households. This kind of corresponds to about 4.7 million tons, which could have been eaten and could have been useful in some sort of way. However, the court hold commitment, by 2030, they want to aim to like kind of solve this issue. And based on my report and the investigations and the conclusions, it kind of recommends that the household's food waste will decrease as these programs continue. Why should we care about food waste? So, food waste is a global issue. So, it's not just the UK that should be considering this. So, in my presentation, of course, this is based on UK households, and the UK families essentially needed a voice to kind of get this going because for the majority, most people don't realize how much food waste is being produced and how damaging it is for the environment. So as this problem of food waste grows, governments and initiatives have kind of set out goals to reduce this. So by 2030, like I said, 50% of the whole food waste should be cut. The UK government is actively pursuing with these programs and they are trying to further minimize these. So why should we actually care about food waste? Home food waste is estimated by the RWAP to now be producing 70% of the whole food waste, with the rest of it coming from hotel, food services, and retail industries. The average amount of food waste produced by a household exceeds that of anyone else's industry. And according to the RWAP, the greenhouse gas emissions associated with food and drink waste in the year 2021 to 2022 was equivalent to 18 million tons of carbon dioxide. And given that the average UK home consists of about four people, in terms of money, this equates to about £250 a person, which is £1,000 for most families a year, which again, that money could be saved by these families and also could help them save money on how much they are actually spending on food, especially with the COVID-19, which caused a lot of crisis and a lot of people to stop spending money and be more preservative with their money.